Today's special particular session is actually a somewhat little, rather quite different, but it's also quite very similar indeed. Originally, for the profound and powerful Guru Rinpoche Dorje Drolö practice, which is a significant spiritual practice, we focused on its core principles and teachings. It might potentially require an official empowerment or something similar to that effect. But after carefully thinking about it for a little while, it's not really all that convenient, because all the people participating in this event today are probably from all sorts of many various backgrounds actually. So I will just briefly take a moment to talk about this particular practice, and I will also carefully recite the complete transmission for everyone present. This specific approach might indeed be a little different from what you are accustomed to or might expect. But if this practice isn't transmitted at all, it would be a somewhat bit of a pity indeed. If we are going to transmit it effectively, it's not good if there are too very few people, and it's also not ideal if there are too many participants here. It's often quite challenging to truly find the appropriate balance in the very middle. So sometimes, when undertaking various things, being excessively high doesn't effectively work, and being too significantly low doesn't work particularly well either. It's not really easy to find that perfect middle point at all. Even if you actually find it, you might not necessarily achieve it successfully. In this particular situation today, I will certainly use the tantric method as well, but within Tantra, this is considered a fairly relatively open approach to transmit it to everyone in attendance. This is a Terma originally revealed by the renowned wish-fulfilling jewel, His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche from the Holy Tiger's Nest Cave. You could also say that this is a profound spiritual practice originating from the revered Guru Padmasambhava. More specifically, it is the powerful and transformative practice of Dorje Drolö. In fact, for this particular and often esoteric kind of profound spiritual practice, some highly experienced gurus choose not to even bestow empowerments at all. Not to mention such a very simple, concise practice, even when teaching the profound Dzogchen, the very profound teachings on primordial purity and spontaneous presence. They also do not require any special formal empowerments, and instead they just teach quite directly. This particular kind of situation also indeed exists in practice, but for us, when it comes to some certain Dzogchen practices, it is absolutely and truly necessary to receive empowerment in advance. Not only do you need empowerment, but also to truly receive guidance, the 5 preliminary practices, either more than 50% must be completed, or they must be fully completed. Only such people are qualified to receive the teachings. In recent years, as everyone knows, I have basically transmitted some tantric teachings every year. During the process of transmitting these tantric teachings, those who have not practiced the preliminary practices, there is none in my memory. Because if there is no preliminary practice at all, simply listen to the primordially pure, then he must possess a good capacity. With the same capacity as the omniscient Venerable Longchenpa, I haven't yet discovered such a person till now. If you happen to find it, you can also announce it to everyone present. That is to say, I found a revered spiritual leader, maybe Mifam Rinpoche, and also the highly esteemed Patrul Rinpoche, Jigme Gyalwai, Nyugu, both significant figures in their traditions. Everyone truly knows how much preliminary practices they have actually practiced. In the biographies of these masters, it should also be quite clear to everyone that it is. So, the way I'm looking at this complex situation, my present current methodology or strategy appears to be as follows here. If you are very strict like some masters, you might find this challenging. Life is indeed very short, and we were standing right in front of the revered His Holiness, and I have received some very good and truly tantric teachings. These have truly never been widely spread. It's not that no one is actively passing them on. However, at least for some individuals at this moment, it might indeed be necessary. Therefore, I myself should also have made a very strong and unwavering aspiration. Other than that specific purpose, there is truly no other underlying purpose. Then, as for some masters, perhaps, as I just mentioned, they were able to spread their important and significant teachings even more widely and effectively. Of course, specifically, some may indeed observe the way some Western masters do things. On one hand, they are truly exceptional and highly respected in such a complex and interconnected contemporary social group. To spread the tantric teachings is truly remarkable. But in some cases, it seems that in terms of sequence, there are also some quite notable differences. Some of them first teach the direct pointing to the original purity, and others follow different approaches. Then they teach the emptiness of Madhyamaka, but after a while, these people still lack the foundation. And then, gradually, over time, they go back to teaching some very simple, basic, and fundamental worldly teachings. This kind of situation also exists. In any given case, if one is truly to transmit the profound tantric teachings, then it is essential that teachings on the original purity of true tantric teachings, it is still better to be strict overall, really. For individuals as well, this is absolutely extremely beneficial in actual practice indeed. Because if one practices according to the proper sequence, in the end, one's own practice will definitely lead to accomplishment. Even if you do not attain realization in this lifetime, then in the next life, in the subsequent existence, just as it is profoundly articulated within Venerable Longchenpa's renowned and highly esteemed work, The Treasury of the Supreme Vehicle, he meticulously presents and elucidates a multitude of compelling reasons for this particular phenomenon, does he not? It truly does not matter in the slightest whether you happen to be a man, a woman, or even a young child, for these principles apply universally to all individuals, regardless of their gender or age. If you are fortunate enough to encounter the profound and esoteric tantric teachings and subsequently receive invaluable guidance and essential pith instructions, even if you do not actually practice, because of the immense merit of having heard them, you will definitely attain ultimate spiritual liberation. So what is the reason for this? It is because you have encountered the Supreme Heart Essence teachings of fruition. This is the reason being explained here. There were several reasons mentioned earlier, but I did not use all of them. I also posted about this on Tibetan Weibo, so everyone should be clear about this as well. Some of us have indeed encountered the profound tantric teachings, but because of our demanding work and because of our family responsibilities, or because of our own afflictions, we may not have had time to practice. In the end, we finally get cancer and it's time to go. Everything happens very quickly, and many things are left unfinished, let alone spiritual practice. Even many things at home remain undone. At that moment, the army of death arrives to greet you. At that time, you have no choice but to say goodbye. Everything in the world must be let go of. But for those who have truly heard the tantric teachings because they have encountered such profound merits from listening, Venerable Longchenpa explained this very, very clearly. It is due to the merit of hearing these profound teachings that we will most certainly attain ultimate liberation. So sometimes with these tantric teachings, there may be some people who slander them, but this is a normal phenomenon, just like with our esteemed Chan and Pure Land schools, and many other profound and ancient teachings. In the beginning, many people simply could not accept them. Even during times when Buddhism was extremely prosperous in the past, speaking of Tibetan area, there were some individual scholars and Abhidharma masters within Tibetan area itself who not only did not acknowledge Dzogchen but even attacked it. The same is also true in Chinese Han Buddhism. Whenever a very supreme teaching truly appears in the world, there will always, without fail, be some people who will attack it. But the more it is attacked, the more its real true nature becomes clearly apparent. It can be revealed in this particular way and will not be destroyed because of it at all. It will not expose its hidden ugly side because of this process. That won't happen. So I think by truly seizing this valuable opportunity today, everyone present should also be able to gain a much deeper and more comprehensive understanding of the subject matter. As for this profound understanding, today I had originally given it considerable thought much earlier, preparing thoroughly for this discussion as well. Perhaps there would be an empowerment of Padmasambhava's auspiciousness for removing obstacles practice, or an empowerment of the wrathful guru, but for various significant reasons indeed, in many important respects. So today, for all of us gathered, this particular practice will be explained in a much more accessible and understandable way for everyone present. I will provide each and every one of you with a clear and literal explanation of its fundamental principles, as well as detailing the exact process of its literal transmission. Those who have faith will also receive the profound blessings and spiritual attainments of the transmission themselves, experiencing a deeper connection. If you truly lack faith, you simply won't know which specific parts have already been concealed. So in some respects, there are many secret methods within Vajrayana Buddhism. So perhaps today, this is the only method we can use. Of course, as I mentioned yesterday, this is the premise. Today's class is a bit different from some of our previous exoteric teachings. Well, it's not quite exactly the same, therefore we do have some rather special and specific requirements here, including for those sentient beings who are listening intently from the vastness of outer space, and also for those who profoundly rely on their supernatural powers or extraordinary abilities to listen to and comprehend the profound Dharma teachings. It is precisely the same for them as well. So first and foremost, for all those individuals gathered here today who have not yet formally taken refuge, I will briefly recite the refuge and the generation of Bodhichitta for you, and then use the 7-line prayer for everyone to help deeply mature your own individual mind streams a bit more thoroughly. After this essential maturation process, I will then transmit today's profound and powerful Dorje Drolö practice. This is particularly important because in this truly special and unique era of the 21st century, perhaps even the transmission of Dharma needs a bit reform. Of course, the content of the Dharma itself cannot be changed. Some conservatives might criticize me for this, but as for what they say, I might also say a few things regarding the teachings. So today, this is truly the only way we can proceed. With that, I will first lead everyone in taking refuge together. When taking true refuge, you should reflect deeply on what genuine refuge means. Some of us may have already taken refuge for many years, but whether it truly comes from the depths of our hearts and remains truly unshaken in any and all circumstances is something everyone should indeed examine for themselves in their own lives. If it is a genuine refuge, even when facing life-threatening danger, one would never abandon the Guru, the Yidam, or the Dakinis, nor the 3 jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. This is something that I will absolutely never ever give up on, to truly possess such a powerful and resilient mindset. If you are able to cultivate and possess this kind of unwavering mindset, taking refuge becomes the foundation of all vows. With true refuge, all virtues and merits can naturally be attained. Therefore, I will first address those who have never taken refuge before. You should take refuge in the 3 jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. For those who have already taken refuge, your vow of refuge will never waver, not in this life, nor in any future lives. No matter what kind of situation you encounter, not even the slightest bit, truly, in this world of ours, we sometimes encounter all kinds of situations. Some people abandon the Buddha, some abandon the Dharma, and some abandon the Sangha. Some individuals abandon their personal yidam, some others abandon the sacred dakinis, the powerful Dharma protectors, and so on. Therefore, following the instructions of Mifam Rinpoche, in the verses from Illuminating the Path to Liberation, before the Gurus, Yidams, and Dakinis pervading all of space, in front of the 3 jewels of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I and all sentient beings respectfully take refuge in such a verse. I read it in Tibetan, then many of you, once again, now take this refuge precept. If it truly arises firmly within one's mind stream, that's also exceptionally good. Namkonis namka kangwayi Lamayidam kandru tsornam dang Sanje chudang pakbu gindan la Dadang rutukibe kyalsam che Namkonis namka kangwayi Lamayidam kandru tsornam la Sanje chudang pakbu gindan la Dadang rutukibe kyalsam che Namkonis namka kangwayi Lamayidam kandru tsornam dang Sanje chudang pakbu gindan la Dadang rutukibe kyalsam che. Then you should truly develop the profound Mahayana Bodhichitta. What does it mean to generate Mahayana Bodhichitta? To develop the Mahayana Bodhichitta means that I and all sentient beings are originally Buddhas, but I didn't really know him before at all. Now I have completely and fully realized that I am truly, originally, a Buddha by nature. With such a clear mind, we can definitely generate Bodhichitta within ourselves. I also read this 3 times, just to be sure. Dadam thai semchin nam Yene sanje yambala Yimbar shipi danye to Shanchim chokdo semkye to Dadam thai semchin nam Yene sanje yambala Yimbar shipi danye to Shanchim chokdo semkye to Dadam thai semchin nam Yene sanje yambala
Yambar shibi dagnyata Shanchim chokda senkyeto Dena zhonzan Bama kesara dombola Yamsam chokha ngedranyi Bamam jongna jisa Kurdam kandro mambo kura Kiki jisa dachoji Shinji lapche shasasa Kura Bama zirda Dena zhonzan Bama kesara dombola Yamsam chokha ngedranyi Bamam jongna jisa Kurdam kandro mambo kura Kiki jisa dachoji Shinji lapche shasasa Guru Bamazur the Horn, Johnson, Bamagazar Dombola, Yamson, Choko, Nidroni, Bamam Jone Jesus, Kurdum Kandro Mambo Guru, Gigi Jesus, Dojoji, Shinji Lapja Jesus, Guru Bamazur the Horn, Domungumbo, Ranjon Hundred, Nola Yermes Jibugozri, Tranangora Mamba Maliba, Nyamnya de Jans, Gam Zoda.
Okay, next I will now proceed to carefully and thoroughly recite for everyone present here today, providing a detailed and comprehensive presentation. The sacred His Holiness's lineage of this precious Dharma.
Practice of Dorje Drolö Chenle Kundrib Jigso Namungur Pama Hereka Yander Trubame Peganzaka Tiabsimson Mundan Rover Shini Hornocher Nanta Gunzan Yemdialon Nantet Gunna Nyaji Gunzan Yapiter Zonjik Chimchok Dichin Chanchib Simmer Namtak Hon Yigr Mugnam Kalasher Gomtru Tony Shini Tsrndi Be Warchin Shopper Dorje Drolö Amar Mu Jarak Chig Shirni Yansam Jat Marman Rarwa Marsir Namda Zir Angsig Damba Tsimji Ganrale Kimtang Zorni Yersin Tangchay Rngapong Java Chuji Yansa Tam Chiri Namchak Dorjem Kalabjir Chochong Tokchir Jawu Toktan Bev Chirion Namchak Purwa Dangri Zir Lolong Barwa Mepong Chunkurti Onoshid of Gatsok Jimid Jom Tar Chak Ramjig Tagmo Jima Nyawi Tang Jiangni Tiakin Dortup Sird Jat Jivi Cherzog Dongma Karmo Tang Yepi Cherzog Chukun Chor Nam Wonga Cherzog Vermig Lablabak Sor Jagbu Cherzog Gomchang Serer Shi Choktam Ngamba Jagbur Kurosser Dave Shots Barda Ramsakartan Sa Jaksum Lami Shunlam Jagodan Chu Varji Chalar Girde Jitruk Yudum Tsogji Mutra Chatron To Woka Chala Nexum Kandroi Derton Womer and Dumcho Yellow Takur Dexum Tomi Tsonam Orlonam Chugba Chenler Namji Driver Gunja Romnium Jiking Kachu Jimtra Travi Nanda Sada Dodne Tamsu Ishi Nimeba Derton Lon Chimbur Janda Songurionzo Hondrab Dragba Yi Nawa Tamchi Honga Zigz Jajak Tamchi Honga Jarkate Jantok Tamchi Nyamnin Honga Ngang Redon Zinjin maybe Ngane Da Hon Am Tartig Honam Hala Tam Kornum Su Ticker of the Su Shirjak Chibirk Xar Tagaptana Xar Tagaptan Sam Chawa Yi Jinjip Sholum Jibber Sha Jinjip Jolum Lanjik Sha Samaya Shakir Gerun Lakshus Zong Shirip Song Sami Dianchan Tandru Tonchin Jibber Shavale Redon Zamu Nyangla Ravnyam Yang Pabmi Densig Mulum Tutsambe Sansi Kashi Nikalamne Tor Zapa Sakter Jibak Gonterji Chumzutumi Dobor Kirzan Yang Zapchur Peris Not Nirka Ve Mamambu Chubab Kyanrisha Mao Dorje Tomar Sarjib Chundab Tonne Tanjur Member Show Ji Nyamsir Dermeso Jiban Dagan Guru Dorje Drolö Tiv Datang Tamchi Mali Bab Terba Nemchum Paro Taktsang the Taktsang Huarpugde Tonskab Zapa Sakter Drolö Dershig Yondiki Drufkur Jebale Lichtir Nyambo Zam Kandru Daif Kerwa Tonyo Pershavi Shir Perve Tanjur Gipa Mali Banjombi Teacher Chu Mangalam Rapshon Chudum Bakchaktar Da Dumbi Tsin Yersim Lao
This is the profound and sacred lineage of the spiritual practice of the revered Guru Padmasambhava. So, therefore, today, regarding this very important and deeply meaningful practice, I will endeavor to explain it to each and every one of you, literally and comprehensively. Strictly speaking, one should have certainly received directly from Guru Padmasambhava the empowerment for the wrathful and intensive practice. This is the best situation. But for those of you who have completed preliminary practices and received the empowerment, you should absolutely follow what we meticulously taught last August at that specific time when we transmitted it to everyone present, the practice of the Wrathful Guru Rinpoche. Practicing in this way is also truly acceptable. If you have not fully received the empowerment, or indeed completed the 5 preliminaries, then in that case, you can truly treat this sadhana as a general, quite simplified practice. Practicing in this particular way would be more in accordance with the sacred Dharma. Today, I will also briefly explain, because the profound causes and conditions of this Dharma, its very origins and so on, are quite extraordinary. In our last class, I gave everyone a brief and foundational introduction to the subject matter. Personally, I truly believe that in this current age of Dharma decline, a period marked by spiritual challenges and moral complexities, especially now, at this very moment, when all kinds of adverse and challenging conditions continue to keep arising more and more frequently and with increasing intensity, and our discriminating thoughts are also becoming extremely and profoundly intense. Even the strong greed, anger, and ignorance that in sentient beings' ordinary mind stream are extremely hard to stop, like a raging flood. When they suddenly arise in our individual mind stream without warning, they are very difficult to resist, very hard to stop. At such challenging times, there is a kind of tremendous, immense power that is extremely fierce, beyond measure whatsoever. A profound Dharma like this is absolutely very important to understand. Therefore, the great blessed Guru Rinpoche Dorje Drolö, as we mentioned yesterday specifically, Drolö is a great being of profound realization, a powerful one with great strength, or you could say indestructible like a brilliant Vajra. A great being who attains realization is traditionally called Drolö. So the important practice of Dorje Drolö, indeed many great masters in degenerate times relied on this kind of a very practice to free themselves fully from many adverse conditions and thus attained liberation, as I mentioned yesterday. For example, in the case of the first Dorje Rinpoche, according to his biography, it was because he recited the syllable HUM. Otherwise, at the tender age of just 14 years old, he might have tragically left this world, just as his beloved uncle had done before him. So, for some of us, it is because we simply haven't yet encountered these truly extraordinary and profound pith instructions of the tantric teachings, which are so vital and illuminating. We may encounter obstacles in our practice and obstacles in our daily lives. There are even obstacles affecting our bodies and our lifespan. Worldly people place importance on these things. More important, spreading Dharma benefits sentient beings. For Mahayana Buddhists, propagating Dharma and benefiting others can be a strong attachment, so to eliminate the adversities in spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings. This practice is also very extremely important indeed. So this time we are actually going to be imparting this truly special teaching to everyone in a very unique and special way. It is the Dorje Drolö practice of His Holiness. Previously, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche in the West also had a very similar Dorje Drolö practice. Indeed, many of the practices contained within it are quite similar in their approach and execution. When His Holiness went to the United States in 1993, I observed that many Shambhala students in the Western world were actively reciting the sacred syllable Hung and diligently practicing the Drolö sadhana. Subsequently, I also had the opportunity to bring one back with me. At that time, Trungpa Rinpoche's Terma was also a newly revealed Terma, discovered and brought forth at the auspicious site of the Tiger's Nest. When he originally revealed it, both English and classical Tibetan were used together. When he initially first revealed it, it was probably in Tibetan, but he himself personally translated it into English afterwards. Each one also had a specific unique Terma number at the very end, like 2 distinct circles. All of those were actually all right there. I saw them before. Many Western practitioners really do value this highly and deeply, and there's something quite interesting and noteworthy too. It seems I also spoke about this particular topic at a school in Europe or America. One of his devoted disciples was named Dawa, a significant and important individual. His attendant was also a Westerner. He later journeyed to Toronto, Canada, a vibrant and diverse city, and at that particular time he recounted that when the revered Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche made his significant pilgrimage to the sacred Tiger's Nest, a renowned spiritual site, he subsequently descended from it. And it seems they stayed there for a day or two. After he finished revealing the Terma, when he finally came down a little while later, he also clearly said that in this place, in the future, there would be someone named Jigme Phuntsok, who would come to reveal the Terma. He explicitly said this very sentence. That's precisely what he truly said. His personal attendant later on had already, I genuinely don't know if he's still actively around now or not. But this statement is also truly accurate. We heard it with our very own ears. I also asked about it repeatedly, again and again, and it was indeed said at that time. And he said he didn't really know on that high cliff up there whether the name of that master was there. At that time, he didn't recognize it either, because Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche passed away in 1987, and His Holiness only went there in 1993 initially. His Holiness actually went to India to reveal this sacred Terma in 1990. So I've also looked at his Dorje Drolö practice text with great interest and compared it with His Holiness's Dorje Drolö practice. There are some notable similarities in certain parts, including the Guru Rinpoche section, but in that particular text, the Guru Rinpoche in his pure vision is wearing the distinctive kind of hat that the Karmapa traditionally wears, and then later on the eminent Karmapa Dusum Khyentpa and the distinguished Karmapa Pakshi, there's a practice where several masters are merged into one. This kind of thing exists in every lineage. It manifests through the blessings of different lineage masters. There are various different forms of expression or phenomena. This certainly does happen. So sometimes when you truly look at it, even though in the present day, with organizations like Shambhala and similar groups, there might indeed be some noticeable changes in certain specific aspects, it is still undeniably true that at the very end of the last century, Tibetan Buddhism in the West still had a very special and auspicious connection. And these connections, I believe, are also due to the subtle blessings of Guru Rinpoche. They are also extremely subtle. For example, in Nepal, there was someone called Shakya Rinpoche. He lived to be over 100 years old indeed. Throughout his long life, he practiced only the Dorje Drolö practice consistently. Now, as for this deeply revered practice within our Tibetan region, many highly respected monastics and numerous dedicated lay practitioners with significant spiritual realization, they secretly regard him as their personal and most cherished Yidam deity. There are some thankas and some small images like photographs. But in ancient times, there weren't real photographs after all. But what was drawn we call tsale, those square-shaped ones, which are quite similar to today's modern photographs, typically featuring a distinct square shape, and such sacred objects of spiritual practice were carefully and reverently hidden inside one's personal practice texts and devoutly prayed to with great frequency. Although I myself may not have extensively practiced these particular rituals much at all, ever since I was young it has consistently been the case that I have had a profound and unwavering faith in Dorje Drolö, it truly seems. At the very least, I possess great and steadfast faith, and I often engage in heartfelt prayers, especially after receiving it in the presence of the precious Guru. Although I haven't actually practiced it every day, I have to be quite honest about that, really. But after truly obtaining these very sacred, profound teachings, the obstacles in my own personal practice have indeed decreased very much, quite significantly, overall. In this regard, I also hope that why am I transmitting this teaching today? Actually, the precious His Holiness revealed this, and it should be for dispelling obstacles. His Holiness's Wrathful Guru Rinpoche, this will also be mentioned later in the empowerment ritual, this intensive practice of Guru Padmasambhava, what is its main purpose? It is to dispel obstacles to Buddhism, to remove these adverse conditions facing Buddhism, and also to eliminate the obstacles practitioners encounter on the path of practice. Because in this degenerate age we live in now, having such a truly wrathful practice, perhaps for some individuals, it can indeed bring great help and significant benefit throughout their entire life. Of course, we also cannot completely rule out that for some people the karma from previous lives is manifesting now, or if the external obstacles you face are even more severe than this, it may be very difficult to eliminate them. For example, even if you take the best medicine, there are some illnesses that simply can't be cured. If cancer has already spread, then even if you take the best medicine, there's nothing that can be done. Even if the best doctor comes to see you, the doctor might take a look and say, it's not possible. They might try to keep it from the patient, otherwise. But in actual fact, the patient who is right next to them can hear absolutely everything very clearly. What exactly did he say? Is it that I'm already completely beyond any help at all? the family members then start deliberately lying to him. No, 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 they say. They tell him, you're still doing well. You'll be taking Chinese medicine soon, but I need to talk to this doctor alone for a moment. Sometimes when cancer is in its late stages, many family members comfort the patient and tell them to go home and take Chinese medicine. So when some people genuinely say to go home and take traditional Chinese medicine, that's also a particular kind of situation. So what was I just talking about? I was just saying that in this world of ours, there isn't any truly supreme remedy at all that can truly solve everything. This doesn't exist in any of our worldly methods at all, nor does it exist in transcendental methods. This is something I often think about. The practices I cultivate, when obstacles arise in my life, I never complain or blame others or fate. I don't do that. Unlike how some people are nowadays, saying, I've practiced so many teachings. Why aren't they working for me now? I've tried to be a good person and practice virtuous teachings diligently. So in my life, why do so many problems arise? Why am I so unlucky? It seems this teaching is a false one. Such statements indeed come from people who truly don't understand the actual cause and effect, who don't understand the deep karmic connections between past and present lives. Consequently, I can't guarantee that those who practice Guru Rinpoche's teachings will never encounter any obstacles. That's not the case. But at the very least, speaking as ordinary people in this world, for example, some of the health medicines we have now, back when these medicines didn't exist, some people might have only lived to be 40 years old. But now, thanks to advances in medicine and other fields, there are many convenient methods available. Because of this, someone who used to live only to 40 might now live to 80. This is something that truly exists in our world. So our spiritual practice is the same way. Originally, a person might encounter great obstacles in their practice. It's possible that their spiritual practice would be cut short. This could happen. But later, because they encountered a special yidam and received the blessings of an extraordinary guru, for this significant reason, their spiritual life continued on, enduring and strong. So when we diligently practice and faithfully transmit these profound teachings, it may indeed be deeply meaningful in a certain, very real sense. This is too unusually read. Every day I consistently find a flaw with this delicate teacup, actually, just to see how many times they can replace it. Some photos need to be consecrated. Relying on the blessings and the great power of truth of Guru Padmasambhava, truly, everything you hear online is said to be blessed as well. But this is also completely fake. It never accurately tells the absolutely correct time each and every single day. So next, let's begin our introduction. Otherwise, we might run out of time. Guru Rinpoche Dorje Drolö practice, accomplishing all activities, is mainly for accomplishing all activities of pacifying, increasing, magnetizing, and subjugating. This should be profoundly important and deeply significant in our practice, right? Sacred mantra means prostrating with utmost reverence to the Wrathful Guru Rinpoche. And here it refers to practitioners without conceptual elaboration, which is relatively simple and easy to practice. Those who don't like extensive practices or activities, like some so-called practitioners among us, who are unwilling to perform extensive Buddhist activities or to carry out elaborate and large-scale rituals, and also do not wish to diligently study the profound and intricate 5 great treatises, but instead simply desire to practice the sacred yidam properly and with full devotion in a secluded and pure place, and consequently have very little interest in engaging in broad learning or acquiring extensive knowledge of various subjects. For people like this, practicing Guru Rinpoche, because in this very life, by relying on the blessings of Padmasambhava, they can truly become a genuine practitioner And once their own inner strength has grown strong and truly robust, they can benefit countless sentient beings. So for such people, when they are initially first practicing this incredibly profound Dharma, they should take refuge and recite the refuge verse once. Using any version from any ritual text is fine. And also recite the Bodhichitta verse. First, take refuge and generate bodhicitta. Then generally, when you practice, recite it once, just as we did earlier, the refuge and bodhicitta verses from illuminating the path to liberation. After that, recite it directly. When you reach the part with the syllable HUM, keep reciting and that's sufficient. You just need to recite this ritual text once directly. But in order to help everyone to understand the literal meaning more easily and more clearly, let's very concisely go through it word by word. First, here it says HUM. HUM is, on one hand, the seed syllable mantra of Guru Padmasambhava, and on the other hand, HUM is a profoundly significant and powerful invocation word. In various ancient and sacred ritual texts, sometimes specific words like HUM and Ah, which are deeply embedded within spiritual practices, they are also considered a potent form of invocation and inherently carry a very special and profound spiritual significance. So, to begin with, we must understand this fundamental aspect. The entire world of forms and the vast world of all sentient beings are completely pure. Originally, she is truly Samantabhadri, existing within the infinite Dharma Dhatu of emptiness. This is explained from the perspective of emptiness. From the perspective of the generation stage, this is called the Samadhi of suchness. The Samadhi of suchness is when all phenomena transform into emptiness. Now, profound emptiness can also be clearly referred to as the mother of all Buddhas in Vajrayana teachings, or as Samantabhadri, and this profound kind of emptiness is not just a mere simple or vacant emptiness, instead it is the boundless, universal, and brilliantly luminous great compassion. It is truly the all-pervading, radiant, and infinitely expansive, luminous great compassion that encompasses everything. It is called Samantabhadra Tathagata. It can also be called the Samadhi of the manifest stage. Because all phenomena are of the nature of emptiness, emptiness and luminosity are inseparable and indistinguishable. Or to put it in a more worldly term, simply indeed, the Buddha Father and Buddha Mother. Therefore, the union practices and union symbols we commonly speak of in the world, it is a kind of representation. It is not the actual union of man and woman in the worldly sense. It does not refer to worldly desire or lust. It's just that people in the world have a particular attachment and specific understanding toward this profound and sacred kind of union. For this very significant reason, sometimes there are also powerful and symbolic images of this spiritual union beautifully depicted in various forms within many ancient Buddhist statues. But as for the union image, one represents utter emptiness and the other represents brilliant luminosity. When these two are truly united, when these two are perfectly combined, the supreme blissful bodhicitta arises. This is called the meditative equipoise at the causal stage. If, as mentioned earlier, emptiness and luminosity are inseparable, then the blissful bodhicitta of the inseparability of luminous wisdom manifests. So, what does this blissful bodhicitta become? It transforms into a brown HUM syllable. Of course, this HUM syllable, the Tibetan HUM syllable is the best. Then the sacred form of this profound HUM syllable appears forth from the vast emptiness. Because generally, when we diligently practice visualization, some people, during their visualization process, can gradually cultivate the visualization step by step. There are such methods. Some practice the visualization in a single instant. This pertains to the Kriya Tantra and Charya Tantra of Tantric practice, as well as the practices within the highest Yoga Tantra. There are many different methods of visualization in all of these various Tantrayana divisions. What this means is this truly blissful bodhicitta, a profound state of inseparable emptiness and luminosity, transforms into a HUM syllable. The HUM syllable appears in the space of emptiness. Then it powerfully radiates its brilliant light, making generous offerings above and giving abundantly below. Above, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and to all the pure lands offerings are made. Then below, all sentient beings of the 6 realms of samsara are given this profound generosity. After this, the brilliant light is then gently drawn back in. Once it is reabsorbed into its source, then at that precise moment here, if you are practicing according to the highest Yoga Tantra method, you clearly visualize yourself as Guru Dorje Drolö. So today, what we require is that perhaps many people may not necessarily have this level of realization. Because if you truly visualize yourself as such a truly wrathful Vajra deity, some people might even feel a little bit afraid. In that specific case, we visualize Guru Dorje Drolö, the wrathful form of Guru Rinpoche, in front of ourselves directly. Generally, actually, in some different various and specific methods of the exoteric tradition or the classical outer tantras, there is a big distinction between the yidam and oneself. He can just grant me siddhis, that kind of thing. Most people might really find this quite a bit easier to accept. We often think, wow, Guru Padmasambhava is truly extraordinary. He rides a tiger, and if he could subdue all the obstacles around me, how wonderful that would be. I would genuinely feel so incredibly safe and truly happy. So if a significant number of people can indeed accept it in this particular way, then today I will also endeavor to explain it precisely in this very same manner. In that case, indeed, the HUM syllable that we visualized just now finally transforms into the main deity, the enlightened Guru Padmasambhava, Guru Dorje Drolö. Guru literally means guru, or teacher traditionally. The great Venerable Jigme Lingpa also specifically explained it this particular way.
Lo chula girchi, lo chula girchi ngurunchi, lamkurum lambramato, gumchinchi, anismeto chinchin lamarchi.
It seems that I also personally provided this in Tibetan for everyone gathered here today for this teaching. The deep, profound meaning is that our individual mind gradually turns toward the sacred Dharma with genuine devotion and faith from the heart. Guru Rinpoche, Padmasambhava knows, which means to devoutly pray to the revered Guru Padmasambhava. I sincerely pray that I do not go astray. I pray to the omniscient Venerable Longchenpa, whether it is Venerable Longchenpa or Guru Padmasambhava. In fact, they are truly, indeed, absolutely inseparable from our own kind root Guru. It is indeed the Guru who truly protects us from all harm. All are known as inseparable kind Guru. That's precisely why we often pray. Generally speaking, in Tibetan area, for example, if you happen to slip a little on the road or encounter something unexpected, you simply say, Guru Rinpoche Chen. We often say Lama Chen, right? In the future, you should sometimes use Guru Rinpoche Chen. Guru actually means Lama. In fact, Guru is indeed a Sanskrit word, as it originates from that language. But in fact, it refers to Guru Padmasambhava. Generally, it's Guru Rinpoche. In the West, many different people often say Guru Rinpoche quite commonly. Some say Guru, some say Gurai instead. Many practitioners in contemporary France specifically, they have great faith in Guru Padmasambhava. I personally think that sentient beings in the vast Han region also have a very strong faith in the revered Guru Padmasambhava. For us, the people of Tibetan area, even now, his profound influence remains deeply cherished. Many young people have great faith in Guru Padmasambhava. They are very devoted, so I think this faith is very important. If there is no faith, then all the Buddhas, deities, and Thangkas are nothing more than just paintings. And the Guru is just an ordinary person with a physical body. No matter how famous the Guru is, no matter what, he eats just like everyone else, gets angry just like everyone else. There's absolutely nothing truly remarkable about it at all. So sometimes my personal confidence, this kind of intrinsic faith with yourself, is also very, very important. So what exactly should we meditate upon? Meditate on the main deity, the extremely powerful Guru Dorje Drolö, Padmasambhava Dorje Drolö in his glory completely. I can provide a more very appropriate, authentic photo available. I don't currently really know if it's released today yet, though. It wasn't on yesterday, right? This is what I said. When I talk about this subject, perhaps everyone will take this as a reference. Please don't show my image now. You would be much better off if you carefully looked at this revealing photo. We can clearly discern from this detailed photo that this intricate artwork is indeed a thangka. Isn't that correct? I've looked for a great many beautiful, exquisite thangkas. This one here is quite similar to the practice of His Holiness. It's pretty much the same. For now, let us keep this particular one. You, our valued staff members, and then I will explain a little bit more. Otherwise, yesterday when I truly wanted to really explain it, it had already disappeared. It was gone. So when the time comes, this is Guru Padmasambhava. The Guru Dorje Drolö that we are truly practicing today is indeed him. So, what exactly does he look like? He is reddish-brown. This particular color can also be considered a shade of brown. Of course, Dorje Drolö has some variations. Each ritual and each Turton's practice method is not exactly the same, but this one is somewhat similar to the practice of His Holiness. He has one face and two arms. One face represents the unity of the Dharma Dhatu. As for his 2 arms, this signifies the profound union of ultimate truth and conventional truth. Then his 3 eyes are wide open. Indeed, he possesses 3 eyes. The 3 eyes represent the ability to perceive future, past, and present. Sometimes, in wrathful forms, some people don't understand aspects. People in the world might ask, why are there 3? Don't we have just 2 eyes? Why aren't 2 eyes already beautiful? How could it truly be like this? But actually, having 3 eyes is quite incredibly beautiful indeed. This is because they illuminate and perceive. Although we now have 2 eyes, we can't see the past or future. Sometimes we can't even see the present clearly, just what's right in front of us. Especially as people get older, everything becomes blurry. We see less and less clearly. So having 3 eyes would actually be a great thing. These are the 3 eyes that perceive the 3 times, past, present, and future. Then his beard and hair are red and yellow. Whether it's the hair on his head, his beard, or his eyebrows, they all stand upright, majestically rising upward into the vast open air. This profound posture also signifies having attained a state of complete purity, truly liberated from within the endless cycle of samsara. Within the pure and supreme Dharma, this is also a deeply meaningful and symbolic expression. Within this profound purity, a state of ultimate spiritual clarity. It represents a profound kind of purity, a true kind of supremacy. That is the essential meaning here. Next, his teeth are clenched very tightly together. This is because he appears in a wrathful, powerful form. In a wrathful, fearsome form, his fangs are bared and his teeth are clenched. And these tightly clenched, very sharp, extremely prominent teeth is likened to a snow mountain, extremely pure and white, without any afflictions. A majestic snow mountain, utterly unstained by any defilements of afflictive or cognitive obscurations. And what truly erupts from this pristine snow mountain? Storms, torrential rain, wild and violent weather. It's as if, from his very mouth, some say mantras emerge, while others say it's like a torrential downpour. This is a metaphor, just as sometimes snow mountains are struck by all kinds of storms and heavy rain. Such things can happen. So then all kinds of malevolent ghosts, terrifying demons, and vengeful spirits that often cause significant harm to us practitioners ourselves, these are various fierce and formidable spirits. They are wrathful demons. There are so many of them in this world. Look at our current era. Some people are possessed. Many people are possessed, though we don't know by what. It seems that in Tibetan area there are very few cases of possession. I don't know, in some places, in Tibetan area, I've actually never encountered anyone who was possessed. Some people with mental disorders do exist. But it seems that people who are possessed, maybe it's because there are too many people or for some other reason, I'm not sure. In any case, there are all kinds. Some are real. Some people think it's just superstition, but actually it's not superstition. The non-human beings and yakshas mentioned in Buddhism, some of them are always clinging to certain people. Some may not be around all the time, but when you have nightmares, they appear. All of us have this experience from time to time. Just a couple of days ago, I had a nightmare myself. When I first woke up, I was a little bit scared. My heart was still truly racing quite fast. Then I immediately thought to myself, when I was teaching the Medicine Buddha Sutra last year, there were a few Buddha names that were especially effective. But I completely forgot which specific Buddha it was. So regardless of that particular detail, I'll continue. I recited the names of all 8 great Buddhas. I thought to myself, surely one of them must be the Buddha, the one who dispels all nightmares and brings peace. So sometimes things like this do happen. Now, as for these particular ghosts, their 5 aggregates are truly like a very intricate net or a dangerous snare indeed. Because just now, the storm in the snowy mountains, actually it's a kind of mantra. It should be the hum, hum, hum mantra. It turns into something like a raging storm. This mantra shatters the 5 aggregates of the demons. The 5 aggregates are like a net or a trap. If there's a net or a trap, we can't attain liberation, right? So this kind of net or snare, this intricate and deceptive trap, all of it completely and utterly disappears into the pure, unblemished, and ultimate Dharma realm. In other words, whether it's those malevolent beings that harm the sacred teachings of Buddhism, or those destructive beings that harm sentient beings, through wrathful practices, through the powerful practice of Guru Rinpoche, their consciousness can truly attain complete spiritual liberation and profound nirvana. It's not about making them fall or causing them suffering. So this particular kind of subjugation practice in Vajrayana Buddhism, it is not meant to harm any sentient being, nor is it about completely annihilating these beings. It's not like a conventional war between different nations, you see, or a battle between people, where I completely destroy you, I utterly wipe you out. It's not like that. The entire mindset is not like that either. Instead, in the end, it truly allows these pitiable beings for their entire net of the 5 aggregates to completely dissolve into the vast Dharma realm so that they can ultimately attain true and profound liberation. This is precisely what it truly means. So this is the illustrative and meaningful analogy of the teeth. Then the strong raised right hand powerfully wields the sacred, powerful, meteoric iron Vajra in the air, menacingly above. Yes, the meteoric iron Vajra indeed, this specific one is yellow overall in appearance. Perhaps there are also some yellow-colored ones, such as meteoric iron. However, generally speaking, its appearance is black. Because of his wrathful appearance, he firmly holds the Vajra in his right hand. And within this sacred Vajra, many tiny, fierce, and powerful wrathful deities appear, manifesting their forms like the sound of thunder, striking down like a powerful bolt of lightning upon the heads of these wicked demons and formidable enemies, so that they are completely and fully subdued and entirely and truly liberated as well. Then the left hand carefully raises the distinctive meteoric iron Phurba. This particular statue, however, seems a bit different from what is typically expected. He is clearly pointing it downward, but it should traditionally be raised upwards. Therefore, there's another statue that is much more similar and accurate in its depiction. Another truly magnificent and indeed very precious statue of Guru Rinpoche. But if I do not have the remote control in my possession, then what can I do? It might not respond. Hello, hello, hello there. Look very closely. This particular one is quite remarkably similar. He is firmly holding the sacred Vajra Phurba in his hand. Our technical staff's reaction to this is a bit slow today. Perhaps he's currently in Iraq at this moment. So there still needs to be some coordination between us. So, as I just mentioned, with the sacred Vajra scepter and such, the ritual Vajra Phurba should be carefully raised like this. At the very tip of this powerful Vajra Phurba, intensely blazing flames vividly appear. These blazing flames are like a magical wheel. The magical wheel is a powerful kind of weapon. In the past, when the devas subdued the asuras, they effectively used this magical wheel to subdue them completely. It's just like a kind of weapon. So this magical wheel can burn all the harmful demons to ashes without exception. All of their 5 aggregates and the 4 great elements that make up their bodies are completely incinerated. And after everything is burned away, the seeds of negative karma in their mental mind stream are completely cut off. Those individuals who have diligently studied the Gu Yagarbha Tantra, you all should know as well, that it doesn't mean they are completely annihilated. It's not like that. Nowadays, some people might take it literally, thinking, does this mean these demons, these pitiful sentient beings were completely destroyed without a trace? It's not like that. Their form aggregate, perception aggregate, consciousness aggregate are all dissolved into nothingness. But what kind of dissolution is this? In the end, they attain liberation. Just like Guru Padmasambhava, when he appeared in Tibetan area at that time, some local deities, after being subdued by the Guru, their original demonic forms changed and transformed, and they began to actively protect the sacred Dharma. Some of them didn't even change their original physical appearance, and yet they still, for example, some of the Dharma protectors we have now, their mindset has changed, but their appearance hasn't changed. Their living habits haven't changed either. If they used to drink alcohol and eat meat, they still do those things. That's why when we make offerings to Dharma protectors, we offer a little alcohol and a little meat. This was something Guru Padmasambhava promised them at the time. He said, if you don't harm sentient beings, any request we can fulfill. For us practitioners, if you want to, because you're used to it, it's okay to eat a little meat, and it's also okay to drink a little alcohol. Because when they were non-human beings before, they had all kinds of behaviors in the world, and these were indeed things they truly needed. So these essential things can also be provided to them. This is the reason, and it's not because actually some Dharma protectors in Han Chinese regions, some spirits and deities who have already been subdued, some great monks and accomplished masters, have also given him some rather special offerings and satisfactions. Some have even agreed to such requests. You can also look into the stories of some great monks and accomplished masters. So that's how it is. Even though he appears to have successfully subdued this particular kind of being, this is the whole process for him. So, as for Padmasambhava like this, what exactly does he ride? He rides a very terrifying, incredibly proud and heavily pregnant, a magnificent tigress like this. This powerful tigress is a profound transformation of the revered Buddha mother, and he majestically rides. It also looks quite frightening, because tigers are still very scary animals. However, this particular kind of tiger is certainly not at all fragile. Instead, it appears to be especially proud and remarkably dignified. This is truly a tigress that possesses such profound and unwavering confidence. So what is his riding posture like? He sits with his legs spread apart in a strong man's pose, a strong man's impressive posture. One foot is slightly pulled back, while the other is extended gracefully downward. That is precisely the way he truly rides. So this covers his whole process. Today's class might go a little longer than usual, probably about 10 to 20 minutes longer. Otherwise, we might not be able to finish everything. Let's try to cover everything in one go today. Otherwise, tomorrow's class. Other people can also listen in as usual. So in terms of the timing of these events, I hope everyone can be a bit more understanding and patient. So just now, we were discussing the revered figure, Guru Padmasambhava. We often talk about the entire representation of the wrathful Guru Rinpoche and such things. All of these should be discussed. Of course, if we talk about a broader scope of the generation stage, what does the tigress represent? And then everything presented here has a multitude of different ways of being thoroughly explained. If we are fortunate enough to have sufficient time in the future, we can discuss these matters in more detail then. Next, we'll discuss the sacred clothing worn by Guru Padmasambhava as depicted. These carry the meaning of the four enlightened activities: pacifying, enriching, magnetizing, and subjugating. So what is the perfection of pacifying activity? Because Guru Rinpoche has already perfected the pacifying activity, when we practice Guru Rinpoche, we can perfect pacifying activity. For example, illnesses in our mind stream, all of these can be pacified and eliminated. So, the symbolism of this attire, he wears a white inner garment. If we look inside, we can clearly see a bit of it in some places. His pristine white inner garment. There might be a typo on the version we printed, the white inner garment. Then, the attire representing the perfection of enriching activity is the Dharma robe that you clearly see. That vibrant red and yellow Dharma robe represents enriching activity indeed. It increases material fame, wealth, and indeed everything increases tremendously. If you practice Guru Rinpoche devotedly, you will become wealthy naturally, you will get promoted eventually. What is it that people in the world desire most nowadays? It's for all illnesses, suffering, and difficulties to be completely pacified. And then what do you truly gain? You gain a truly enriching activity. Everything is indeed enhanced and improved. Then the perfection of magnetizing activity, the people you truly like, the wealth you truly desire, the food you truly enjoy, including if you absolutely want a house, you will get a house. If you want a car, you get a car. If you truly want a specific person, you will certainly get that individual. Whatever it is that you genuinely like in this world, you can certainly obtain it through this kind of dedicated practice as well. You see, in order to clearly demonstrate this, Guru Rinpoche wears a magnificent flowing purple cloak, that long, elegant purple robe, that large, majestic purple cloak. Then the profound perfection of subjugating activity, all those various things and numerous elements that create significant obstacles to your spiritual practice and hinder your progress, are all subdued one by one. The attire that profoundly represents this ultimate perfection is a truly magnificent crown of skulls, much like a macabre garland of human skulls meticulously arranged upon the head. Here, how should I precisely put it? It is gracefully slung across his entire body, isn't that right? It's not like a necklace around the neck. His crown of skulls, it's made from many human heads, forming a garland. It goes from here all the way down, kind of like Milarepa's meditation strap. From here, some of our Dharma friends also sling their backpacks from here. I've seen some old venerable monks after their class sessions holding a sturdy cane firmly in one hand and slinging that rather large, well-worn backpack across their body, just like that. So this is the skull garland here. Lian literally means necklace, but it's not exactly a necklace. How should I best put it, really? Anyway, you should be able to see it in the detailed picture quite well. Yes, exactly like this. The entire magnificent and awe-inspiring form of Guru Rinpoche, his truly wrathful, fierce, and incredibly powerful appearance, radiating immense spiritual energy. Indeed, well, as I mentioned yesterday, for some spirits and for some worldly people, only just a wrathful appearance can subdue them. Sometimes when I'm dealing with Dharma friends, in the process of managing them, I've repeated the same things over and over again, but they don't listen. But if I scold them harshly just once, they immediately start listening intently. Really, sometimes I truly think it's the very same in the world too. In this vast world, parents are the most loving toward their children. But if parents are gentle and compassionate every day, saying things like, "Do your homework, be good," the children simply won't listen. But if you say, "If you truly don't study, I will punish you, then the child tends to listen more carefully. So sometimes in this world, even parents who truly love their children the very most, often have to show a wrathful side. That's why a wrathful demeanor is necessary. It's needed not only in spiritual practice, but in worldly matters. Sometimes, for example, when we deal with worldly people, in the process of interacting with them, even after using gentle words many times, it simply doesn't work at all. But sometimes a few angry words or a bit of intimidation immediately have an effect on the other person. That's how it is. Some time ago when I came back, I showed a wrathful side a few times, and the results were very good. Of course, truly becoming angry isn't very good, but sometimes displaying a wrathful demeanor is very effective. But sometimes it's that we truly give rise to anger ourselves. That's not just a display, it's actually becoming wrathful. That, to some extent, people driven by anger can be quite frightening. This is not a good thing. Now, on top of Guru Rinpoche's exalted head, this is talking about Padmasambhava, and then above his head. On the layered lotus and moon disk, there are indeed the three profound transmission lineage masters. These include the mind transmission of the Buddhas, the symbolic transmission of the Vidyadharas, and the oral transmission of the individuals. These are the three essential lineage masters. Their blessings radiate forth in a vibrant rainbow light, very beautifully, right above that wrathful form just mentioned. I'm not sure, but it seems that this Thangka of His Holiness doesn't have it. If another one is painted in the future, it would be very good to paint it according to this description. Above, there are the three lineage masters. The three great lineage masters all sit atop lotuses and sun disks. Their blessings are surrounded by rainbow light. Then, in the very middle here, it looks precisely like this above. Then, a little further down, there are the 4 tantras and the 6 tantras. That is to say, specifically, Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, Yoga Tantra, and highest Yoga Tantra. These are called the 4 tantras. Then above this, if we talk about the 6 tantras, the highest Yoga Tantra is also divided into Mahayoga, Anuyoga, and Atiyoga. So the previous Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, and Yoga Tantra, and then highest Yoga Tantra, is divided into these 3, making a total of 6 tantras. Among these 6 tantra classes, the deities mentioned in the 6 tantra classes, there are especially many of them. You see, the deities of Mahayoga are especially numerous, and the deities of Anuyoga are also especially numerous. Then in Kriya and Charya, if you look at all the deities within the tantra classes, their siddhis are like vast clouds and gentle rain, intermingling seamlessly. Or they are like swirling clouds and dense mist, completely filling the entire sky. It means there are especially, truly, and overwhelmingly many of them. This means that above, in the lineage of the masters, and in the middle, among the 4 or 3 main tantra classes, all of these deities, for example, nowadays in the Han region, there are relatively few who practice these teachings. But actually, in Tibetan area, it varies among different schools. And within each school, there are those with 4 tantra classes and those with 6 tantra classes. Generally speaking, like in the Sakya and Gelug schools, the 4 tantra classes are more common. As for the Nyingma and Kagyu schools, perhaps the Gelug school mainly focuses on the 4 tantra classes, while the Nyingma and Kagyu schools have more deities from the 6 tantra classes. Within their lineages, All of these are as densely packed as dark clouds, especially numerous in the middle section. Then, directly below, within the three distinct realms, there are the powerful and revered Dakinis. Dakinis, here the three realms refer to the three different types or three distinct places. So, what exactly are these three specific places? We often talk about the secret-born Dakini, the Dakini born from secret methods. Then there is the Pure Land-born Dakini, the Dakini born within the pure realms, and also the innate-born Dakini. So what is the secret-born Dakini? Her parents are both truly realized practitioners of Vajrayana, and the Dakinis born from such parents, if both parents are indeed realized beings, then she is also a true and authentic Dakini. As for the Pure Land-born Dakini, within the pure realms, for example, the Pure Land of Guru Rinpoche or other sacred Pure Lands, the Dakinis, who come from these spiritual places. And then there are the innate-born Dakinis. As for innate, some Buddhas and Bodhisattvas specifically emanate, manifest as Dakinis. So, generally speaking, we just have the secret-born and the Dharmakaya. In the past, His Holiness, on the side of the Jomo, there were the Dharmakaya area, Sambhogakaya area, and Nirmanakaya area, the three bodies areas. The Dharmakaya refers to the secret-born Dharmakaya area. As for the Sambhogakaya, it is the pure land-born Sambhogakaya area. And for the Nirmanakaya, it is the innate-born Nirmanakaya area. I realize that in our original official logo, there is a distinctive, unique, special triangle at the very bottom. This is the traditional sacred symbol of the powerful Dakinis of the three realms, actually. So earlier this particular afternoon, I was talking to the venerable nuns and esteemed Khenmos, and I said to them, "You are all truly powerful and enlightened Dakinis of the three realms," meaning you are all profoundly realized beings, because I was just joking about this, of course. But if someone is truly realized, it would be like this too. What I mean is, these Dakinis of the three realms, their luminous, profound bliss, just now their non-dual, all-encompassing bliss, wisdom, brilliant radiance, boundless compassion, and abundant blessings gently radiate outwards, sometimes gracefully spreading out, sometimes gently drawing back in. The brilliant display is truly dazzling, exceptionally clear, and remarkably vivid. What this truly means is that there are so many Dakinis below, and then all around. The upper, middle, and lower realms are all included. Surrounding them, there are many protectors of the three families. In Vajrayana, we often say, the Dharma realm family, the mind family, and the Pith instruction family, all of the mighty, powerful protectors of these three significant families, here they are likened to a howling black wind. As for the Dharma protectors, generally all their actions and movements are very much like the blowing wind, exhibiting extreme swiftness and remarkable speed in every aspect of their being. Moreover, the accomplishment of their activities is also extremely rapid and swift. So here, the Dharma protectors are being compared to a powerful black wind. A howling black wind accomplishes the four activities mentioned earlier. The four activities of pacifying, increasing, magnetizing, and subjugating. All are equal of one taste of one wisdom nature. In fact, as mentioned above, whether it is Guru Rinpoche's wrathful form or all those surrounding beings, the Guru, the Yidam, the Dakinis, and the Dharma protectors. Actually, His Holiness, the wish-fulfilling jewel, when I recorded this at the time, I truly originally had faith in the Guru. Later, I thought in such a short period of time, these words were recorded as they were truly full of blessings. I thought. I finished recording quickly, and when I looked, wow, the meaning is so profound. There's so much content discussed within. All are equal, of one taste, of one wisdom nature. Everything is in a state of equality. Within the non-duality of emptiness and wisdom, in fact, all of these arise within the equal emptiness and wisdom, manifesting as a single taste and single essence, pervading the expanse of space, appearing like magical illusions. What this means is, whether it's the Yidam that just appeared or the Dakinis, the Dharma protectors or Guru Rinpoche, their true nature abides within the emptiness of the Dharma Dhatu and has never been shaken from it. There is neither separation nor union with the essence of emptiness. But for us sentient beings, in order to truly dispel the wrong views among all sentient beings, and to remove all obstacles to their spiritual practice entirely in any distant corner of our entire world, wherever they fully pervade the expanse of space, as long as we genuinely pray or earnestly recall them with faith, the interdependent connection is inconceivable. They will appear in a very, very short amount of time. For example, with our modern mobile phones nowadays, as long as you possess a phone and a strong signal, you are good to go. When these two conditions come together, you can use it. It's the same principle. Sometimes you might not have a phone, so even if you have a signal, it's useless. Or if you have a signal but no phone, it's also useless. In the same way, if there are no practitioners or people praying, even if Guru Rinpoche's profound blessings pervade and encompass the entire world, you might not necessarily be able to make use of them. Even if we have that, but if, like the signal, Guru Rinpoche's blessings are not present, it might not be possible either. But when these conditions come together, they can be applied at any time. There are many, many inconceivable causes and conditions in this world. I hope that when some of us say, is this right or not? Or is this reasonable? Actually, that's quite laughable. Our wisdom is truly limited. When you examine Guru Rinpoche's sacred Terma teachings or many other profound Termas revealed by different Tertans throughout history, no matter how many years I have practiced them, I might not even fully understand the meaning of a single Tertan's teachings. Even just studying his profound works can be quite difficult. So our collective wisdom is still limited. Sometimes we might, for example, find ourselves in front of a scientist, not understand anything at all about science, and think that these scientists are just talking complete nonsense. But that's probably not very reasonable. So sometimes when it really comes to the profound Guru Rinpoche's wisdom, or the wisdom and compassion of the Dharma, those who don't really understand, you shouldn't be especially arrogant yourself. First, you should study very earnestly and devotedly, and humbly dedicate yourself to thorough research for 10 or even 8 years. Then, together with those who are truly accomplished and knowledgeable in Buddhism, the great masters who have studied deeply, practice and study together with them. Even if you don't have faith, if you explore together with them, after a certain period of time, perhaps your own mind stream will indeed change. It's not really that simple. Some people are worried about Vajrayana teachings, saying, what if they are attacked? Will Vajrayana teachings disappear? But I just think, as long as truth is truly and indeed acknowledged in this world on earth, Vajrayana teachings, even in this present world, will not disappear because of this. So sometimes it is truly crucial and essential for us to fully understand this fundamental principle. Now, furthermore, moving on, we can consider, regarding the Samaya deity, if you visualize it yourself, it is called the Samaya deity. Then the one visualized earlier is called the primordial wisdom deity, or the wisdom deity. There is no duality. They are not separate. But in front of us, sentient beings, they can truly manifest as profound emptiness and boundless bliss, as ultimate wisdom and deep compassion, such glorious appearances, truly adorned and magnificently splendid. Within the vast and expansive realm of our world, they can manifest in this way. In fact, whether it is Guru Padmasambhava or our own mind, they are originally non-dual and inseparable. There is no distinction. However, in this world, in front of those who have sincere faith, the great Guru Padmasambhava can indeed appear. Just like what we commonly call worldly gods or worldly idols, such truly beautiful forms can manifest themselves. Originally, a rainbow has no inherent substance in the sky, but sometimes, when the right atmospheric conditions come together, it appears. The magnificent appearances of the world can manifest before you, and you can witness these incredibly beautiful scenes. In the same way, as long as we pray. As I mentioned yesterday, as long as you truly have faith, when you pray, you will definitely receive such wonderful blessings. And sometimes I truly hope that in the future, some people will wear images of the great revered Guru Padmasambhava. Many of you already wear all kinds of images. You see clearly, I am very much against this. Including images of myself, for example, like wearing a portrait of a beloved person around your neck, perhaps as a cherished keepsake. This kind of personal worship, on one hand, might be somewhat acceptable for those who have been kind to you, because nowadays many young people like celebrities. This celebrity, that celebrity, they hang their pictures on themselves. Even many college students are fans of celebrities, and they insist on putting those photos by their bedside. Some homeroom teachers scold them every day, but they still don't listen. This kind of idol worship is still acceptable. But if you truly and genuinely must have an idol, I sincerely hope that if you are devout Buddhists, you would have images of the revered Guru Padmasambhava and the enlightened Shakyamuni Buddha as your cherished idols. In the past, I have done this myself. having Guru Padmasambhava on one side and Shakyamuni Buddha on the other. In this way, there isn't difference between schools. For example, in Tibetan area, although some individual schools of Tibetan Buddhism may not have faith in Guru Padmasambhava, but doctrinally, many great masters have said that if not for Guru Rinpoche, Tibetan Buddhism as a whole would have had no way forward then. Anyone who understands history would know this. So, for Tibetan Buddhism, the kindness and merit of Guru Padmasambhava are immense. Therefore, in the future, you are all free to do as you wish. No one is against you hanging up many images. Some of them, it seems like the Guru Padmasambhava just mentioned. Doesn't he have many, many heads? Some of our Dharma friends as well possess numerous images of this particular Lama and various images of that other revered Lama, just like the countless heads of Guru Rinpoche, or perhaps even more than he himself possesses. Some individuals have several stacked together in the middle, and then one positioned over here, and so on and so forth. But as for these Lamas' heads, I'm not entirely sure if some of them are actually truly effective or not, you know. Honestly, I'm a bit concerned. If you have an image of Guru Rinpoche, there's no doubt its efficacy. It will dispel obstacles. When evil spirits and heretics see it, they will be afraid. A powerful deterrent effect. Otherwise, some lamas just look like... These days, a lot of people really like it when a lama is smiling kindly. In that case, they say, wow, this lama is so compassionate. I definitely want to make him into a pendant and wear it around my neck. That way, when I'm feeling upset sometimes, I can carefully look at my revered lama. It truly doesn't have any noticeable effect. Next, we will talk about the profoundly important main deity. Just now, we discussed Padmasambhava and his entire sacred retinue, who are all very significant figures, emitted the sound of hum. All appearances transform into the form of hum. All sounds become the sound of hum. All thoughts and discriminations turn into the nature of hum, the nature of inseparable emptiness and bliss. There is no hope or worry. No hope, no anxiety, no attachments exist. In this pure state, recite the sacred syllable hum. I hope that this time we transmitted this practice to everyone properly. At the least, recite it 10,000 times. We recited it 100,000 times. If you wish to dispel obstacles, and recite it over 100,000 times. If you don't have that much time, our Dharma friends study and contemplate the teachings, recite, but many are busy and have debts from mantras to repay. Many debts. In the very end, everyone eventually ends up feeling a little bit tired. I'm not insisting on it, but if it's possible, it would be best. Because forming a positive connection with this practice is vital. Moreover, the power of the HUM syllable. In other practices of Mipham Rinpoche, there is a specific practice on the HUM syllable which brings great merit. Especially in this degenerate age, practicing the HUM syllable is meaningful. So recite it 10,000 to 100,000 times. It's up to you. If you really can't recite it 10,000 times, reciting it 100 times is also fine. I'm just giving you a clear comparison. Then, below, you should just recite hum, 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 exactly like this. At the very end, when you conclude the entire session, the sacred hum syllable gradually merges into the central and principal Guru Rinpoche deity. And the retinue gathers into the heart of Dorje Drolö. Then Dorje Drolö is also the soul mudra. The mudra is this wisdom of non-dual luminosity, which is actually our own innate awareness, this kind of innate inherent awareness, where clarity, purity, and stability are all profoundly present and completely whole. The period at the end connects with what follows below. In daily life, whether walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, one should act within this kind of state. This profoundly signifies that all my actions are intrinsically inseparable from the sacred hum syllable of the revered Guru Rinpoche. One should visualize it as exceptionally pure, remarkably clear, and incredibly stable. Within this kind of state, whether constantly speaking or practicing daily, if you can truly always remain inseparable from Guru Rinpoche's enlightened state, then your spiritual practice, for those who truly value Guru Rinpoche's way of practice, I still think it is very necessary in one's spiritual cultivation. That's why I am transmitting this to everyone this time. Generally, it should not be transmitted to those who are not suitable vessels. So here, regarding Samaya and Secrecy, indeed, we have also made a very meticulous number of preparations for this occasion today. Originally, many Dharma friends came to the venue in person, which was quite an effort for them. But it was all for the sake of Samaya. Next, there is a concluding statement here. At that time, spoken by the precious His Holiness, he said, Shakya Bhikshu Lekshe Sangpo, which refers to the precious His Holiness. He said, me, Shakya Bhikshu Lekshe Sangpo, what do I possess? The adornment of pure wisdom and pure discipline. In this lifetime for me, according to the pure wisdom of the common vehicle, the exoteric tradition, and the pure discipline, the monastic precepts of ordained practitioners. Through this approach, I spread the Dharma and benefit sentient beings. That is how I have been. I originally intended to entrust the teachings of Guru Padmasambhava to myself, to keep the true Terma teachings hidden within my own heart. But when I arrived at the Tiger's Nest in Bhutan, when I came to this place, the words of truth spoken by Guru Padmasambhava were incredibly powerful. Guru Padmasambhava, when His Holiness once transformed into Dudul Dorje, there was definitely an entrustment at that time. And when I came here with that entrustment, then indeed the vision of His Holiness on that day, I often see it appear before my eyes. It is indeed completely different from anything in the past. So some of the karmic connections with Guru Rinpoche in previous lives are inconceivable. Guru Padmasambhava's incredibly powerful words of truth. On the other hand, His Holiness's own karmic connection and aspirations with the Terma teachings is also extremely powerful. Because of this, some of the secret words, some of them, like the Bodhi Mandala in front of us, these simple practices just truly and indeed come out quite naturally, without any real effort whatsoever. So, these secret Dharma instructions are actually very important for later practitioners. They are truly significant. If we don't value them, then it doesn't matter. But if we do value them, then for each person, they are indeed very important in practice. This is indeed what His Holiness said. Then, following this, it says, although His Holiness said of himself that he had already accomplished many profound earth termas previously. Earth termas traditionally generally refer to buried treasures that are retrieved from caves, cliffs, oceans, or lakes. These are called earth termas. After he finished retrieving those precious treasures, they were later transformed into written words through symbolic means like this. There are also some additional ones called mind termas. Mind termas are like indeed. But these can also be called earth termas. They can also be called mind termas, right? His Holiness's teachings. As for mind termas, generally they suddenly manifest within his ocean of wisdom. They just suddenly appear, seemingly out of nowhere. They emerge all of a sudden, quite unexpectedly. You know what I mean? 什么? Then His Holiness said, although I have already accomplished earth termas, he is truly a terton, a treasure revealer. Everyone should pay attention to this. Nowadays, there are many termas, and some people be deceived. There are some fake tertons. Padmasambhava's prophecies also say fake tertons are as numerous as mushrooms on the ground. Nowadays, they keep popping up. We need to be mindful of this. There are also genuine tertons, but there will also be fake tertons. So sometimes we may encounter many different kinds of situations. We might truly run into numerous and quite varied circumstances. Although he accomplished both earth termas and mind termas, when it comes to termas, actually I had planned to talk a bit more about this before, but I never had the time. At the University of Colorado, and also I think at a particular school in Jerusalem, at that specific school, I spoke a little bit about the profound Dharma teachings related to Terma. If you want a preliminary general understanding, I have talked about it a bit as well. Actually, Terma is sometimes quite truly mysterious. As for the Terma teachings, many people in the West study Terma, and it's quite interesting. His Holiness said, although I have truly become such a great terton, a treasure revealer, indeed His Holiness is a terton. He possesses a sacred Vajra dagger, and that powerful Vajra dagger is always securely worn at his waist, close to his body. Of course, absolutely anyone can certainly do that without a doubt. But in fact, the meaning behind His Holiness's Vajra dagger is completely different. I also have some things to say about this, but I'll just talk about it later, due to really current time constraints. But nowadays, it's very hard to find in this world someone who is a suitable vessel to propagate such profound Dharma. For the time being, let's set aside a great deal of the many idle speculations and all the words simply spoken out at random, if one truly wishes to reveal Terma, to write some songs of realization or pure Dharma teachings. which manifest from the state of purity. They are pure Dharma teachings, the Terma teachings of the pure Dharma category. If we were to talk about them, there would be many, but His Holiness said that beings in this degenerate age may not be able to accept them. Many people lack faith and their wrong views are strong. Therefore, he gave up the speculation of speaking at length, the idle speculation of arbitrarily composing many treatises. So here, he spoke a bit about his own personal and spiritual situation. He hoped and prayed earnestly that his later translator, named Dorje Drolö is like when the army of Kalachakra descended into this world, destroying the hordes of demons, and once again spreading the secret teachings. His Holiness was one of the ministers at that time. He was called Dorje Tumeza. There was also another called Ligi Dorje. There are also different prophecies about them, I suppose. In the future, he would reveal the Terma, hidden treasure teachings, from this place. At that time, it was said there were 9 volumes. When we were leaving back then, His Holiness requested a kata be placed at the spot where he revealed the Terma. Later we realized maybe it was revealed here. On the surface it seems like it was a mind Terma. It appeared in written form. But in reality, perhaps it was a Terma that combined both mind Terma and earth Terma. A kind of Terma method that merges the two, you could say. That's how the whole process went. This text is about making pilgrimage to the wrathful Guru Padmasambhava Dorje Drolö. It is a supreme place for subduing all demons and vengeful spirits. Actually, originally, Paro Taktsang was a place inhabited by non-human beings and spirits. There were many evil spirits there. Even now, many of the places subdued by Guru Rinpoche back then still exist there. If you go to Paro Taktsang, the tiger's nest, in the future, at that place, there are many stories of Guru Rinpoche displaying all kinds of miraculous powers there. And there are many stories. But today, however, I won't be telling any stories. When I went there, I learned a lot, stories. When I was writing a dreamy pilgrimage with my guru that day, I wondered whether or not to include these stories. But later I thought, if there are too many stories, since there are already so many stories from India and Bhutan, then it wouldn't really have much meaning. So in the end, I hardly wrote any stories. Actually, there are some truly amazing and quite fascinating historical stories hidden there. This absolutely remarkable sacred place, which we call Paro Taktsang in Tibetan. The cave at Paro Taktsang is now commonly known as the Tiger's Nest. When His Holiness came here, because of the profound earth Terma, the extensive practice of Dorje Drolö, as I mentioned earlier, aren't there 9 books? There are so many of them. But among them, the condensed practice of the Bodhi Mandala refers to the one I just mentioned, body practice of visualizing Guru Padmasambhava Dorje Drolö. Actually, this body practice is extremely vast and extensive. Including many Terton's teachings, Dorje Drolö practice is very extensive. In monasteries in Tibetan area, there are the extensive practice of Dorje Drolö, a large volume. I once participated in an extensive practice. At that time, I didn't really know how to do it, so I felt it was probably when I had just become a monk. I attended a major Drolö practice gathering, which was quite significant. I wasn't very familiar with the use of many ritual instruments and the recitations involved. I was a bit awkward about it. So there are many ways to do this recitation and practice. After the Dakini gave a sign and request, it's written for benefiting sentient beings, may become the causes to completely destruct, obstacles to spread Dharma and benefit beings. I also hope that with this transmission of the practice, those who have faith will recite the syllable HUM. Then take an image of Guru Dorje Drolö or of Guru Padmasambhava. Even the usual image of Guru Padmasambhava that we have is fine. Actually, the wrathful form is just a transformation into this appearance. The meaning should be the same. It's like how one person can have different photos. Some people prefer the peaceful form. Some people prefer the wrathful form. So as for Guru Rinpoche, the important thing is that he simply manifests in 8 different forms. In fact, it really is the case that, for example, as I mentioned earlier, if you really very like a certain celebrity, whether that celebrity is crying, smiling, or showing an angry expression, you might think this angry expression, some people, when it comes to their own teacher, he has such a radiant smile. I like expression. Some people say, I really truly like it when he looks intensely angry. Each and every time I witness that fierce gaze, I wouldn't even consider being idle or lazy. I like a kind of wrathful expression. So in the same way, it's fine for us to like whichever form of Guru Rinpoche we want to practice. I hope that everyone, whether you have a yidam, a teacher, or a particular practice, you should not change it throughout your life. Don't practice this today and that tomorrow. That's not okay. Actually, practicing many different methods isn't necessarily contradictory, but sometimes there are certain special practices that may be necessary for many people. So this year as well, as I mentioned last year, and probably every single year, if we practice a Wrathful Guru Rinpoche sadhana, whether for individuals or for the whole group, and for the flourishing of the Dharma truly in our world, it will all be beneficial. There are quite unique inner, outer, and secret connections deeply involved here, so I hope everyone will take this seriously. May auspiciousness increase. The 17th Victorious Birth Anniversary. 60 full years make up one complete Victorious Birth Anniversary cycle. This is the Iron Horse year. When we went there in 1990, it was the Iron Horse year. According to the Tibetan calendar, it was the 23rd day of the 7th month. As for the Gregorian calendar, I think I mentioned it as well. It was September 12th, 1990. We went there that day and stayed for 2 nights. The very next day, we descended the mountain, which was probably September 14th. This time, the complete entire route that His Holiness took back then has basically all been clearly marked out already for visitors. In the future, if you carefully follow this same route and bring 6 full months' worth of essential provisions, then make a complete and thorough circuit, that's also entirely possible. But the only significant thing is staying for 2 whole nights in the deep cave might be a little bit difficult for you because it's simply not allowed. They have very strict regulations about it. Generally speaking, it's basically impossible to actually stay there overnight, you see, if it really doesn't work. There are many comfortable and welcoming hotels at the foot of the mountain. You can certainly also stay there for your convenience. That's my personal suggestion for you. That's all I've shared. That's it.
Bandangara Badna Sadarda Bandangara Badna Sada Bandangara Badna Sadarda